Hello, everybody. It's your boy Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and rumors abound about a possible sequel to Halo Infinite. There's a name going around called The Endless or something. Apparently, they trademarked it. I'm not convinced that we're getting a full-blown Halo Infinite sequel anytime soon, but on the off chance we are, or they're just going to take massive revisions with Halo Infinite and try and pull a Destiny 2 with it. Here's what I firmly believe that, for lack of a better phrase, a Halo Infinite sequel needs. We're going to split this off into two sections, campaign and multiplayer. Let's start with the campaign, because that's the thing I'm most passionate about nowadays. I think there is a way to make open world work with Halo. I just don't think it's feasible, and I don't think 343 have enough credentials at this point to prove to me that another attempt at that formula is better than just reverting to a mission style. Because I just think reverting to missions has the higher chance of success. Halo is predicated on learning the map and spawns, and the pacing being defined by what weapons are given to you. Because you can have the same composition of enemies in the same format, but if you have different weapons available to you, that entire engagement is fundamentally different. You can tailor that to each section. It makes each combat scenario in the original Halos, hell, even up to Halo 4, memorable. But the problem with the open world is not necessarily the open world itself, it's the FOB. The FOB is god-awful. It ruins that entire feel by making it so that you can always have what you want in the open world. At first, while you're leveling them up, it seems pretty cool. Cool, I can select what loadout I want. Wait a minute, that's not Halo. That's not what made Halo's campaign so good, so memorable, so fun. What made them so fun was that each section was handcrafted. Each section was forged to give you certain tools and a sandbox so that you can make use of them as you will. But if I just have a map editor, it ruins that feeling. It ruins that immersion. It ruins the idea that each scenario can be handcrafted to be utilized with certain tools, because I can just pick the most powerful stuff and roll over everything, even on Legendary, because that's how I beat the game originally. I played it on Legendary. Also, Halo Infinite has such a high reliance on precision-based weapons, it's kind of stupid. Where a lot of the times you just don't feel it's worth using anything else. Except you want to use one of the new variants that's completely freaking broken. But hey, I will digress. I will give credit where credit is due. The open world, it had its cool moments. Exploring it with the grapple shot was cool. I liked looking at all the areas. I liked trying to figure out ways for me to get there. I liked the sense of velocity you had with the grapple shot. There were good aspects of it. But if you're going to do this again, you need to make substantial revisions to the formula. And hey, I will point out what a lot of other people have pointed out before. I may not like the FOBs giving you various weapons at the drop of a hat, but what I did think was cool was the Marines and the vehicles. Granted, I don't think vehicles were all that freaking useful in the open world all that much, because a lot of times you just felt like you had to stay on the roads because the rest of the environment was so bumpy or vertical that it just made it feel inefficient. I'd just rather get there with a grapple shot. But it is undeniable, in my opinion, to say that getting a Razorback filled with Marines with... Oh, I forget what the hell the weapon's called. It's that, spiker thing that brutes use. With that thing, and you just, run into an FOB and watch them tear everything asunder in, 3 seconds. It's hilarious. I love that. That's cool. Halo is at its best when it's using good environment, good map design with the weapon sandbox. So if 343 can somehow lean into that and make a fun Halo open world, then cool, go for it. I just don't think they should take many risks right now. But in terms of environments, it needs more. The one area we have with Infinite was cool to look at for the first couple of hours, but it gets dull after a while. Missions being all in the same Forerunner corridors freaking sucks after a bit. It gets boring to look at. We need more color palettes, more characters, more biomes, more environments. Remember when that was a selling point for the other Halos? Where we will take you on this journey, this odyssey, through all these different locations, and you will see things you have not seen before in Halo? Where the hell is that? Give me that. That was cool. What it also needs is better characters. You have 3 good characters in Halo Infinite. You have Chief, the pilot, and then you have the weapon. That's it. None of the villains are remotely interesting. I don't know if that's a hot take or something, but the Banished suck. They were cool in Halo Wars 2. When you had Atriox and you had that story. You don't in Infinite. You only see Atriox through, like, holograms when he's talking to Cortana. And he's still cool there, and you see him in, like, the very beginning cutscene, and he's cool there, too. Why the hell isn't he in the game more? He's a cool villain. Make use of him. All of these little henchmen he has suck. They're the most boring, one-dimensional characters Halo's ever had. And not to mention just their story, they're less interesting visually than the Covenant. The Covenant had dynamic, very saturated color designs, to where when you're in a Covenant installation, or when you're in, or you're surrounded by a Covenant, you knew what they were there, because they clashed so much with the aesthetic of the surrounding. If they were cool, they were memorable, they were unique. The Banished, the most dull, one-dimensional, generic design I have ever seen in Halo. Like, they're like strictly utilitarian, and it sucks. It's not fun to look at, it's not visually impressive, their vehicles all look worse than the Covenant, they all look less unique. They look like I got them from a bag of Roblox or something. They're just uninteresting to look at. And the villains, like, they also suck. Like, Escharum. He could have been so cool. I loved his trailer line. Set a fire in your heart, Spartan! Love that. Where was that energy anywhere else? He just, like, bad-talked us on, like, Xbox Live throughout the entire game. Like, what was that? Like, and also, mechanically speaking, right? Either completely change how Halo tackles boss fights, or stop doing them. Again, I might be in a minority opinion here, but I don't think there was a single good boss fight in Halo Infinite. Like, the closest that we had was the Monitor fights, and we fought them 3 freaking times. Though, granted, each time felt different because they were in a different location. Get it? Get it, 343? Use map design to your advantage. You did it with those fights, with none of the others. Pretty much. Well, so you did. It's disingenuous to say that entirely, because the more I think about it, the map design were probably the best aspects of each boss fight. But the mechanics of the bosses, there were just 1 or 2 of them for each boss. They sucked. And half the time, they just boiled down to rock, paper, scissors, where if you had the right weapon, they just rolled over for you, even on Legendary. But if you didn't, they were just a massive health sponge. Felt like I was fighting a Destiny 2 boss. Like, what the hell is that? Like, they need way more mechanics to make them remotely interesting. To not feel just like skilled up regular enemies. The elites with stealth tech are kind of okay. But again, if you don't have the right tools for them, they're just massive health sponges. Where you're just standing around, like daydreaming, waiting for them to appear so you can actually do the game. Or play the game. There's not one good boss fight outside of, like, the Monitor fights. And it sucks because they can easily do more interesting fights. Just have more mechanics, more things going on. But for some reason, they just stick with the bare essentials. What, like, the most minimalistic boss fight you will ever see. Now, the spawn ability and, like, RPG system is, like, okay. but without a way to respec if you realize halfway through the game that the build you were going for, because the game was advertised as an open world, kind of sucks in corridor sections, and the entire back half of the game is nothing but corridors. It just makes you feel frustrated and annoyed. Drop shield freaking sucks in the back half of the game. It's cool in the open world because you can always make your own cover. But in a corridor section, having more mobility with the thruster pack is so much better, especially against hunters. But if you make the wrong decision early on, you're just screwed. Like I was. It sucks. The player should not feel punished for it in a Halo game for a choice that they made 4 freaking hours ago. And another thing, why are vehicle sections so boring under 343? Like, there are a few sections in Halo 4 that were fun, like that Ghost Escape, and I want to say the 3rd mission, or the Mantis, when you first got that. Those were cool, mainly because the Mantis was cool, or the set design around you was cool. But again, and this is especially true for Halo Infinite, with like the second to last mission, I forget what it's called, like the Road or something, the Scorpion one, you know the one I'm talking about. Why does it just boil down to a freaking corridor? This was the same in Halo 5. Why is it always a straight on-rails section that limits player agency? Give me sections, give me areas, environments to explore. Like in some areas of Halo 2, Combat Evolved, and Halo 3, and Halo Reach. Like, why are they so hell-bent on having these linear on-rails sections whenever you get into a vehicle? Hell, even in the open world, because of the way it's constructed, you feel like you have to stay on the freaking road. Otherwise, your vehicle's gonna flip like 10 times over. Like it's a freaking Bakugan or something. Like, what are we doing here? There is no section in Halo Infinite, in Halo 5, that feels anywhere close to the double scare-up section from Halo 3. Or 2 Betrayals. Or Assault in the Control Room. You can have areas that are technically linear, but because you have multiple routes to go down, like an Assault in the Control Room, you can make those areas feel fresh and unique, but they don't do that. And also, vehicles feel like they're made out of, like, paper or something, like paper mache. To where you almost feel more rewarded for not being in the vehicle, because you can at least evade stuff. Like, make vehicles fun again, because it will add variety, it will change up the pace of the main campaign. Because that's what 343's campaigns need. Variety. Because they just don't have it. Now, I have covered the multiplayer before, so I'll be kind of quick here. I'm not going to say anything too unique here. It needs to launch feature complete that includes Forge. Forge is integral to Halo. It was from Halo 3, and it still is today. The only hype Halo Infinite has anymore is what the community can do with Forge. That's it. It should be there on launch. It's a pillar of Halo. It needs more playlists. Let me choose what the hell I want to play. It needs more maps as well. By having more playlists and more maps, that's more combinations to play in the multiplayer, so it feels fresh and fun. It doesn't feel monotonous and repetitive. Look, I've given up hope in modern FPS games having a remotely good progression system. COD does it decently still, thank God, but Battle Passes freaking suck. MCCs was tolerable. I don't view it as acceptable or fun. Like, it's slightly below the minimum to me. The problem with Battle Passes and loot boxes is that it limits the player choice as to what they want to pursue. You are forced to go on a predefined rail until the game decides to give you the thing that you want. Let me pick. Reach did it the best, but you can't monetize that without letting me buy Halo Reach credits, which would suck, because there would be an inherent bias to give you less. Because it would incentivize you to buy credits, which ruins the pace. Or you would have the opposite happen, where to try and make sure that it's not too incentivized, they throw stuff at you so that the pace feels too fast. The game needs more challenges daily, monthly, hell, daily, weekly, hell, even have some monthly ones. Also, why is customizing my Spartan so complicated? Like, what the hell is an armor core? It's the most unintuitive thing in Halo Infinite. Like, why? Why do we have this? Just give me choosable colors and let me pick what armor set I have on my Spartan. Get rid of this freaking shader nonsense, this armor core nonsense, get rid of it, and just let me pick and create my Spartan. Hell, you can even have in-game challenges to unlock various pieces of armor, kind of like in Halo 3. Remember Vidmaster? To get recon? That was so cool. Have some co-op ones to incentivize cooperative play. Oh wait, it's 343. For some reason, we don't want to have co-op. Especially at launch. Look, a bad progression system ruins incentive to play, in my opinion. Having fun gameplay isn't enough. The rewards need to be up to par. They need to help incentivize you to play the game, and then have the fun gameplay make you want to play some more so that you can unlock the things that you want. So that you feel rewarded, you feel like your time is well spent, both while you're playing and outside of it. Having a good progression system gives you motivation to play again, because you're formulating, what do I want to pursue? What do I want to get? What do I want to get to make me feel unique, to let me customize my Spartan to my preferences? It shouldn't be as complicated or as like grinding teeth as it is in Halo Infinite, as it was in Halo 5. But the problem is, they want to monetize the multiplayer like every other FPS game that is out there nowadays. And by doing so, people are so willing to just sacrifice cosmetics because it's not gameplay, that it ruins that entire aspect of the multiplayer experience that made late 2000s and early 2010s multiplayer so fun. It ruins that entire progression system. It ruins that entire motivating factor. To be able to look at your buddies or look at other players' Spartans and see what they have and say, hey, that looks cool, I want to get there, I want to go get those shoulders. It doesn't matter because right now, I'm forced to go on a predetermined rail and I'll just unlock them when Halo Infinite deems me good enough to get them. It sucks. Put the power to choose, the power to customize, in the player's hands. If the goal is to make a good Halo game. If the goal is to make a good Halo game, that's what you need to do, in my opinion. You need to put the power to decide, the power to choose, in the player's hands. Because Halo Infinite doesn't do that. So honestly, that's the main thing to go into a sequel with, in my opinion. Because just that mindset will change a lot of other design changes. Will affect a lot of the other bits of design. Put the power to choose in the player's hands. And then everything else will fall into place. So I'm going to call the video there for the day. Thank you for tuning in. My pleasure making the video. Comment down below with the change you most want to see in a possible Halo Infinite sequel. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe out there, everybody. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody.